Amazing. Hi. Welcome, welcome. There's some familiar faces, some faces I've never seen before. It's really beautiful to have you here. Hi. I ask, hello. Hey, beautiful soul. I ask that we just make sure that our microphones are muted. I think we're expecting maybe 20 beautiful souls to come. So the less background noise, the better. Just give me a beautiful thumbs up if you can hear me, you can see me. Awesome. Awesome. And a beautiful sister of mine, Maggie. She should be coming on very soon. Hello, Alex. Wow, beautiful. I'd love for us to just type into the chat. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. There's some around, yeah, different parts of the world, different parts of Australia. Where are you from? Some of you. Early Beach. I know some are Early Beach. The Sunny Coast. I know Sunny Coast. Oh, Kirsten's up early morning from Canada. Hi, honey. Wow, so beautiful. Awesome. Malaysia, awesome. So special. The UK, awesome. Originally based in Egypt, beautiful. Portland, Victoria, amazing. Sunny Coast, yeah, I know Sunny Coast. Wow. Something really beautiful about knowing that there's so many around the world because the intent of this beautiful Melbourne, yeah, the intent of this call is really about co-creating abundance and anchoring our light here on the planet. So knowing that we're across all different lands right now is very beautiful. So firstly, I'd love to start, as always. And Maggie, there's Maggie. I see you there, darling. Hi. Maggie, would you like to take yourself off mute just before we go into landing, just to say hi to the group?
Yeah, absolutely. Just wanted to say hello and thank you to everyone for being here with us today, wherever you are.
Hmm.
This is going to be a very special call today.
Yeah, it is. Hey, I
Yeah.
feel it already. Thank you all so much for being here.
To some people. That's cool.
Yeah. Hello. Hello, hello. So I ask us now to just drop down the eyes, and together we'll just sink in, taking 3 deep breaths, receiving 3 deep breaths together. Following my lead, just dropping your eyes, dropping your shoulders, and first releasing any air that is in the body, releasing that out of the body. Nice and empty. And together we'll receive our first breath, breathing in. Holding up the top. And release out. And again, deep breath in. Holding up the top. And release out. And one more deep breath in. Holding. And releasing. And with your eyes closed, I ask that all parts of you are invited to this call. We are in a huge eclipse season right now. And in that process, there can be a lot moving. grief, joy, sadness, feelings that we don't even quite understand. And there's an invitation now to bring every single part of you to this call. Being held in this container, being held by the frequency of self of love. Yeah. Beautiful. Amazing. And when you're ready, beautiful souls, you may open your eyes. And some of you I have met, some of you I have worked closely with for years. And some of you don't even know who I am. And I'd love to start by sharing that my name is Talia Tabone. And I have been an artist my whole life, and also a certified psychotherapist and all these other different things. And it was in the last 5 years that something activated inside, and I was called to drop everything and to follow something that I didn't quite understand. And the name Self of Love really encapsulates that. It's a love that I had experienced that was beyond my mind, yet it resided within the entire time. It was inside the entire time. And through my process and through my journey, and as I've deepened into my practice, and I've expanded not just in psychotherapy, but in multidimensional ways of service, quantum energetics, different things. And in that process, I have been able to support and nurture incredible souls around the world. And it deepens now. And I thought to myself, how can people know who I am or know what self of love even is if I don't actually let these people into my heart? And that's the intent of this call. It's a visit into the heart of mine. A visit. You can take off your shoes at the front door or leave them on if they're slippers. I got my slippers on right now. And come on in and meet me here. And you can get a taste and a glimpse of what self of love is. Because in my opinion, it's not a coaching thing. And I'm not a guru. And I'm not a teacher. Self of love is it's a beautiful essence of its own that allows one to access the essence within themselves. It reactivates that love within. And I'd love to explore a topic here and tell you a story, one that you might resonate with. And I'm curious to know if anybody is resonating with this right now. Just what I've been sharing. There's a resonance here. I'm feeling that there's some smiles, and yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, awesome. So deeply resonating, beautiful. Thanks, honey. And in this beautiful process, coming here in the physical plane, as we all do, we sign up for this human gig. And in the journey, we explore this world quite young. And in the younger years, we experience life. We experience conditions, our conditioning, patterns. And in that process, something, in my perspective, something tends to happen. And I like to call it a deep forgetting. We fall into a deep forgetting. Who resonates with this? There's this deep forgetting where this world and this reality can sometimes feel like it's the only thing that exists. And we lose sight of what's true. We lose sight of that eternal essence that never dies. And in that process, in the deep forgetting, we can get lost and very distracted. Very distracted by the things, the titles, the identifications. So I would like to invite you to join me in this process where we allow these identifications and these things that encapsulate our essence and our spirit, just to create some softness around that. So the spirit can breathe and we can be in our life as it is. Yeah. Who's resonating with this? Yeah, beautiful. Florina, hello, gorgeous. Yeah. Awesome. Maggie, is there anything you feel to add or feel inspired to share at this point?
Yeah, I would say I feel that for some reason right now is such an important pivotal time to also be diving into this because there are so many people who are just so ready. We're craving, we're searching for this and we just don't know it. But what we're searching for is just this essence, this self of love that we have forgotten, that we've been searching for our whole life.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And in my experience, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts. If anybody wants to write in the chat, please feel free. This is totally a group conversation and a collaboration here. In my journey, that seeking of love turned into a pursuit of a career, turned into a pursuit of having the next best thing, having all these things outside. And there's nothing wrong with this world. It's beautiful. We can play, we can create, we can do whatever we want here. But sometimes when we push so hard that we compromise a deeper essence, it can feel suffocating. And then we get to a point in our lives and we feel, okay, why? Where am I? I've lost myself. I need to return back to myself. Yeah. And here we're stepping into a time collectively as humanity. And I love what you shared there, Maggie, because it's true. We're ready for it. And self of love, I personally feel, is birthed because collectively we've been calling it in. This isn't a Talia show. This isn't a Talia gig. We've been calling this in. This is a movement around a deeper embodiment of what it means to be in accordance to our true essence in every aspect of our lives. And nothing compensates it. You know, relationships, career, all these different human things. They're great fun, but we're allowed to never compromise this space and bring this forth into every aspect of our life. And it starts firstly in community. We're not made to do this alone. We're not made to do this life alone. So I ask us now, as a group, as a very powerful group, to lovingly release or relieve yourself from the idea that healing and returning to wholeness must happen alone. Yeah. So you can receive in bounty this call and the connections and the beautiful moments that Maggie and I will lead you through. With an open mind and an open heart, together we can receive a deep breath in now, breathing in together. If there's any story or part or aspect of your being that feels that it serves you more to do this life alone and independently, you're invited, if you so choose, to release, to let go and surrender and be held. Being held, be held, be held, be held. Yeah. Beautiful. Amazing. Beautiful. Amazing, amazing. I ask now, as we move forward, to allow your heart to open, your mind to soften. Because as we move through this call, there might be new perspectives. There might be new ideas that you may have never heard of before. And when we are soft and receptive, we're able to listen. And as I'm sharing what I share here, I invite you to be so discerning, to turn your inner guidance on and listen to your voice within. Don't listen to my own. Make sure it filters through your own. And if there's a resonance there, you'll know it, you'll feel it, and that's it. And I also ask, if some of you have never worked with me before, I work multidimensionally. I work with teams and spirit that is beyond our five senses. There's a whole world out there that doesn't actually live on the physical plane. And I'm not crazy for knowing this. And those who also know it, you ain't crazy either. So, knowing that, and with your permission, that's something that I also offer and do and will bring forth in this call. So, having an open mind and an open heart would be very supportive in receiving and also for yourself. Amazing. Now, Maggie, I'm curious to know what you define abundance to be. Let's talk about abundance. And I'm curious to know what everybody thinks abundance is too, even if it's just one word, popcorn a word in the chat, what you think abundance is. And Maggie, I'm, curious to hear, my
Yeah,
darling.
such a good question.
Yeah.
I think we oftentimes have been told what abundance should be, what it should look like, that it's a number in your bank account or the things that you own. But yeah, it's so funny, even since you've initiated inviting me into self of love, it feels like I've been able to feel what true abundance feels like.
Yes.
Because it's not a physical thing, it's not a material thing. It's something that is felt within, right? It's this inner abundance that nobody can give you and nobody can take away from you. And only you know what it truly feels like. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's so beautiful. I'm reading these beautiful comments and they're so in resonance with what you're sharing. A state of flow. Yeah. Peace,
Yeah.
freedom. Yeah. And the beautiful thing about this is all these pieces that we just mentioned, they don't live out here. They're in here. And accessing them and anchoring in them is the key. That's the key. And how we do this. It's very exciting because I feel as a collective we're ready to anchor this more. The illusions and the abundance that's still anchored in the landscape of separation and duality, meaning the abundance of money in the bank account, abundance of I'm better than, less than, I have all this stuff. These concepts of abundance are starting to fall away like an autumn leaf the more that we evolve. And the true abundance is reconnecting and embodying. There's one thing to reconnect and know it, and embodying is key. Where that essence of freedom, that essence of peace, we have access to all the time. And one thing that is so innate and lives within all things, including ourselves, is the abundant nature, the blueprint, the signature blueprint of this planet. It's nature, it's true nature. You plant a seed, you plant one sunflower seed, and a sunflower grows, and within that one sunflower, there's enough seeds to plant a whole field of sunflowers. You walk into a forest and there is bounty. There is a blueprint that exists on this planet that we have forgotten. And it's natural, it's innocent, it's part of the deep forgetting. And when that's forgotten, we tune into frequencies that are naturally of contraction, which show up as fear, which show up as lack, which show up as scarcity. They're the manifestation, they're the words we've associated to these things. When really all that's happening is where we in there, the abundant, the innate essence, the freedom, the bliss inside, is turning its attention to something that's not of itself. And when we turn our attention to something that is not of itself and bring our focus to that, we, this limitless essence, starts to condense into form, into matter, into fear, into scarcity, into lack, rather than resting in oneself as freedom, as limitless, and then bringing that forth into this physical plane. And that's what I'm getting at here, is when we know that it's not out here, it's in here. When we know that unity cannot happen out here, it happens in here. And when it happens in here, that is the only way that this physical plane can actually transform and become new. Is this resonating? I'd love to hear. Drop a love heart, drop a resonate, drop a yes in the chat. Yeah, awesome. This is resonating, love heart. Awesome. Yes, cool. And what's beautiful about this is it is a movement. Self-love is a movement because we all innately know this. I'm telling you this, and if you're agreeing with me, it's because you're in there knowing this. This isn't new information. And what was gifted to me 5 years ago were practical tools in order to anchor into this state whilst living simultaneously in a world of duality, whilst simultaneously living in a world where separation and scarcity still coexists simultaneously, and how to anchor and stay put. Stay right here. And then we can visit these planes of existence. We can visit these, I call them lower dimensions, right? There's all these different dimensions, whirlpools of reality coexisting at once. We can visit these experiences, but not get sucked into them. We stay right here. We rest as the essence. Okay? Simultaneously remembering and anchoring while living in the duality. Yes, exactly. So, firstly, I'd love to take you. Oh, can you hear me? There's a little audio there. Oh, we have a new visitor. There she is. I'd love for you to mute yourself, my darling. Thank you. Thank you, love. I'd love to take you on a journey where we will anchor into the crystalline grid of this earth. And what I mean crystalline grid is while we're living on this planet, there are so many realities coexisting at once. So many realities coexisting at once. We're powerful beings. Whatever we believe, whatever we think, whatever we know, we then bring forth that reality into the physical plane. And there are so many realities happening simultaneously at once. And when we're on the physical planet, living here, and especially if you're quite sensitive to energy, it can rock us around. It can feel like a little rock and roll game. So when we tune ourselves into, and when I say tune in, it's like a radio station, we're tuning in to the celestial crystalline grid of this earth, the pure, abundant blueprint of this earth. We are deliberately anchoring energetically ourselves to this. And for some, this might be very new. We're like, what are you even talking about? This is pretty far out. This is weird. And yeah, weird is good. We need weird. If we're going to actually change and do something different, we got to make up some stuff. Everything here's already made up anyway. And in this case, we're tapping into more of our essence, our soul remembrance. We're tapping into our multidimensional aspects, right? So in this process, I ask you to surrender your mind as much as possible. And when I say surrender your mind, when you see the mind having that little judgment, that little critic going, hang on a second, this is a bit weird, just sit back. If you're there watching it, you're the subject watching the object. You sit back as that subject and surrender a little bit deeper, and you don't need to know how this works. Just receive, okay? Just receive. Awesome. Maggie, is there anything you feel to add as well before we step into this process?
I think you're doing amazing. Yeah, one practice that really helps me
Yeah.
whenever I feel like my mind is going, it's having a hard time with slowing down and being present. I like to imagine just gathering my thoughts and placing them into a little security box in my mind
Gorgeous.
to come back to later. And it
Yeah.
really helps.
Yeah, gorgeous. Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. And if anybody wants to bring that forth and use that in this moment where there might be a bit of scatter mind going on, might be a bit too much going on, we can just bring all that home, bring that into a little beautiful container. We can say to that container, we can say to these parts, hey, you know what? I love you so much. I'm going to come back to you later. But first, I'm going to fully let myself receive this and fully drop in. So, beautiful souls, I ask you to just let go. And all of this is if you so choose, okay? Anytime you feel that this isn't in resonance with you, that's okay. You're the boss, you're the captain. And if you're open and ready to receive, big thumbs up, big love hearts if we're ready to move through this transmission, move through this process. Big thumbs up. Yeah, beautiful. Love hearts. Yeah. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Beautiful, amazing. Okay. Beautiful souls dropping down the eyes, dropping down the eyes. And feeling your body, breathing in, receiving this breath, and releasing out. And again, receiving this breath. And releasing out. If there's any thought forms, anything that is happening in your field right now, you're invited to surrender. Soften the heart, open the mind. Soften the mind, open the heart, and just breathe here. No force, no trying, just be. And with your permission, we'll call forth beautiful teams in spirit, ancestors of the highest light and resonance to be with us, to hold us in this process. The beautiful, benevolent consciousness of this planet to hold us as we're co-creating and listening to her call, listening to the call of this planet, returning to our natural nature, to our innate nature. We're listening. Breathing here, beloved souls. Deep breath in. And release out. And very softly, tuning your attention to the center of your chest. The center of your chest. Just notice what's there. It's all welcome. And breathing into your chest. And with your intent, allow a pillar from your chest to reach down. You don't need to know how to do this. There's no how. Just allow. Just allow. A pillar dropping down, 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 down. Further still, down, down. Further still, down, down, down. Anchoring to the crystal grid of this earth. The heart, the light of this earth. However that comes to you, however you receive it and trust what you are receiving. And with full permission, anchor yourself here and rest. Allow yourself to rest here. It's safe. It's safe. And breathing here. And with no force, just receptivity, deep allowing. Receive. Receive from the core of this earth. Receive the codes from this earth, the intelligence. However this looks for you, allow this to move up, 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 up through this column, rising up, feeling held. You are held. And allowing this to rest in the center of your chest. Emanating from the center of your chest, just feel it. However it comes to you, it's safe. All is welcome. And breathing here. And beautiful souls from the center of your chest, allowing a pillar to rise up, 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 up. Yeah, beautiful. Up, rising up. Rising up to meet the central sun, the source of light, the light that brings life to this entire planet. We are anchoring here, anchoring your beautiful essence here. No force, no effort. Breathing. and allowing the frequency to move through, to drop down. And with your permission, asking to purify that which is not of your own signature blueprint, your own self, asking anything that is not in true resonance to you, that it be purified through the power of this frequency. Just receive, just receive, just receive. Beautiful. Allowing this light to come down, 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 down. Anchoring in the center of your chest. And just receive, no trying, no force. Breathing here. Allowing the union of the crystalline grid of this earth and the central sun to expand from your heart. Penetrating the floor beneath your feet, the walls, the roof over your head, the surface on which you lay, allowing this light that is you to anchor in the physical plane. This is real stuff. No force, no effort. Knowing you are safe, knowing you are home here on this planet. Beautiful. Taking your time, beautiful souls, together in unison. We'll breathe 2 deep breaths in. You're invited to place a hand on your heart, a hand on your belly, really feeling this in your body, feeling your body. And receiving the first breath, breathing in, holding up the top, and releasing out. And again, deep breath in. And release, release, release anything that is not in service to your highest good now. Relieving yourself. Feeling the rise and the fall of your chest, your belly, where you are. Feeling the surface underneath you. And take your time. You can stay laying down. You can stay with your eyes closed. Bringing yourself into your body. Yeah. Mm. taking your time. I feel some of you are still quite inward, and I invite you to stay inward. The art of this, hey? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? If anybody feels to write, add something in the chat. You're so welcome to. You're welcome to. How is that for you? Yeah. Beautiful. Feel energized. Beautiful. Playful and light. Beautiful. I feel centered. Beautiful. Grounded, centered, open, sweet. Yeah, beautiful. Amazing. Amazing. Clarity. Yeah. Awesome. Loved. Yeah. Awesome. We are deeply loved. Peace. Held. Yeah. And this is something we can really tune into at any time. At any time. And when we find ourselves a little bit, you could say, moving through different radio stations and fragrances of this reality, this is a blueprint we can always tune back into. This is an anchor point, I like to call it. When we anchor ourselves here and then expand and embody more of our light, expand and allow more of our soul to come into remembrance, this is the most easeful and graceful way to do so. Because we feel held, we feel loved, we feel safe. When we feel held, when we feel loved, when we feel safe, our light expands inevitably. There's nothing wrong with you. We don't need fixing. There's nothing wrong with you. We just remember that we're safe. We remember that we're loved. And then we're able to anchor more of that, more of that, more of that, and emanate it in the world. We're a pillar of this in the world. Give us some love if that resonates. Let me know if that resonates with you, beautiful souls. Yeah. Pillars of light and love, absolutely. Yeah. Beautiful Maggie, is there anything you feel to share here?
Yeah. First off, thank you for that beautiful guided, I don't even want to call it a meditation. It was like an activation of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. It was so beautiful to not only feel what was coming through personally, but also to feel your frequency and then to feel the collective energy as well.
I felt
And
that too.
yeah, just the sweetness of us all doing that together was very, very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And I feel to share that, and this is something that Maggie, you might be able to really share your insight and expertise. Where sometimes when we're operating in this world and we've grown up in a world where there's a lot of deep forgetting, there's a lot of different fragrances and frequencies, and this can actually encode our physical being. There's one thing knowing this intuitively, there's one thing knowing this in our essence, in our heart. And sometimes our physical body needs to play catch up. We need to support the physical body to also anchor this light. And this is where the somatic side of things is so important. This is where we're actually tuning into the light of our body and tuning into the intelligence of our body, what it needs to hold more of this light. Because what can sometimes happen, I'm curious to know if anybody resonates with this, we can have amazing, profound experiences, massive Kundalini awakenings. We can have so much opening and light, yet for some reason it's quite challenging to anchor that as our natural state. And this is where bringing it into the body, understanding our nervous system, understanding not just the nervous system stuff, but also the cellular memory, our DNA, what's in our DNA, what we can purify from our physical being to support more of this, to allow pillars of light and love to anchor in the physical plane. That's why we're here. We're bridging heaven on earth here together.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that means we need to be in the physical. Really means we need to support the physical body that might still be holding frequencies of fear. So I'd love to pass the mic on to you, Maggie. If there's anything you feel to elaborate on that and share your wisdom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, having gone through quite the intense awakening over the last couple of years, I feel like exactly what you shared has been an experience of mine of, having this deep connection, this deep knowing, this activation of, yes, there is so much more.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like integrating that into a human experience where, there's you know, a lot of things trying to get our attention,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's the people in our life, whether it's social media, whether it's what's going on in the world. And the real work starts after we've experienced what this frequency of love and abundance can be. And the world is constantly trying to pull us out of that. And that's where really creating these deep patterns within our beings, within our body, within our subconscious it has to be the way, because it's already there. Like you were saying earlier, we forget it. The world wants us to forget because we're easier to control and manipulate when we're in fear, right? But
Mm.
when we finally remember, oh, it's so simple.
Mm.
It's just love. It's coming
Mm-hmm.
back to the truth of our wholeness that has always been here.
Yeah.
But it's a deep repatterning.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how you said, we're not here to heal. We're just here to really just continue to really hold on to this frequency and then share it with others around us.
Yes, totally.
And
Absolutely.
so yeah, it can go into a lot of different facets of somatics and the nervous system and
Yeah.
the science behind it all. But yeah, what I found is that, our body is a physical representation of our subconscious.
Mm.
And so, if we spend time in this meditation, in this frequency, tuning our radio frequency, that is going to really help our mind and body to then basically create this new autopilot way of being.
Mm-hmm.
Because, most of us are in this autopilot fear that we've been programmed with since we were quite young.
Mm.
So yeah, we got to get a little weird. We got to do things differently than the masses, and that takes going inward, spending time cultivating this,
Yeah.
and yeah, knowing that every little shift that you make within your mind, within your body, within your nervous system truly does matter.
Mm. Absolutely. And I feel to elaborate on that too, just to bring a very compassionate view to the world in which it's as it stands right now, is I
Mm-hmm.
see it like a tree in the wind. And when there's a tree and there's wind, that forces the roots of that tree to dive deep, 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 deep into embodiment. If that wind wasn't there, that tree would topple over.
Yeah.
And when we're looking at this world as a collective and this frequency, I choose to personally not even tune into the fear of being a victim of this world. I'm not a victim of it either. I see, and when I'm in this world, I see a deep forgetting. And the more that there is consciousness anchored in these lenses of separation, it's okay. And that's why we're here. That's why we anchor our light. It's beyond a ego story of wanting to fight back. We're not here to fight. You know, when you fight darkness with darkness, darkness wins. If you fight light with darkness, darkness wins because light chooses not to fight. When you show up as love, it changes the whole conversation. We're able to see and receive this reality from a very different lens, from unification, from a unity consciousness. And that also supports the process of relieving ourselves from the frequency of fear, the frequency of scarcity, the frequency of victimization, because we're no longer operating from something, from victim and perpetrator. We're now resting as life itself inside. And that's when this life becomes very beautiful, no matter what we experience, especially in the really uncomfortable stuff. We bring our love, we bring our light to that. How is that resonating? Curious to know. Love hearts. Yeah. Anything. And I see beautiful souls here that are really, really here. And I know I've worked with some beautiful, beautiful souls here that are here to anchor. And you know who I'm talking. I know some of you know who I'm talking about. Where we're here to anchor this light here. More and more. And by doing that, we also free ourselves from polarization consciousness, you know, where we see the world and it's like, you're wrong, I'm right. It's like, actually, no, you're me in there. You're still love in there, yet your love quota is a lot smaller than mine. And the way that I can actually allow your love quota to expand is by emanating that I am. And that's why we do it. That's why we embody. It's a very different conversation and it makes it a lot funner and more joyous. It comes from abundance, not from lack or scarcity that we need to fix ourselves. This has been incredible, Cole. Incredible. Yeah. I'm curious to know in the chat if there's anything, any points, any questions even around this. And we've got a few minutes left and I'd love to elaborate a little bit more. When fear knocked on my door and love opened it, there was nothing there. Yeah. I want to ask about what Maggie mentioned. Your body is the physical representation of our consciousness. I don't understand. Awesome. Good question. Maggie, do you want to elaborate on that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So without going too far into it, our subconscious is deeply connected to our body. And how I know this, how I've learned this is through kinesiology and muscle testing. So with muscle testing and kinesiology, we're able to tap into our subconscious, which is 95, 97, 99% of the memories, the emotions, the patterns, the truth that we hold within us, even the beliefs that we have within our subconscious, whether they're ancestral, whether they're from a past life, from this life, societal. Yeah, we have this encoding within our subconscious, and we can beautifully tap into it through our body, through a simple muscle test, which you can do in many different ways. But an example is to put your fingers together like this and ask, say, is my name Talia? And my fingers go weak.
Is my name Talia? Oh yeah. Okay.
And
Cool.
your fingers go strong. Perfect. That is exactly it. And so our subconscious is deeply connected to our nervous system and our body. And so when there is something that we want to basically tap into through our subconscious, we can test it, to see whether, because our subconscious doesn't lie and our body doesn't lie, especially when it comes to yes or no things. Say, for example, like, is this caffeine good for my body? I can ask my subconscious this. And so it's just a beautiful way to get to know yourself, get to know the emotions or the beliefs that are hidden within your body, but then also to tap into the wisdom of your body. You know, is this you know, food good for me? Is this supplement good for me? But then also, you know, really tapping into the inner truth within us through that muscle testing. And then also, you know, if we have a physical reaction, a nervous system reaction, we can decode that through our own subconscious and through our body. So it's this big, you know, unity between the mind, the body, the soul. Um, there's really no disconnect there. It's all working together, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
beautiful.
beautiful, beautiful, deep ecosystem
It
within
is.
us.
Yeah, it is. And who here is familiar with kinesiology, who knows this, who's already quite attuned to their body and can hear their body even more so now? I'm curious to know if that's been something that you've been doing and working with. Some might be completely brand new, and that's okay. And what's so beautiful about working with the body and tuning into the body and anchoring our light here is we're able to bring forth realities that are in accordance and in reflection to what we are. Like you were sharing, Maggie, when there's that subconscious narrative going on, it's amazing how it shows up in our physical reality. We're magicians, and how that works and how it shows up. So when we start to really shift and change that conversation inside, our physical reality starts to change too, which is so empowering to know that. So empowering to know that what's going on in here, and the more I do this stuff, this out here will inevitably change. My relationship, if I start to really transmute and move out of these shadow frequencies inside, these more dense vibrations, the relationships that I'm attracting will also transform. The things that I create will transform. And I know this from my own personal experience. I was riddled with anxiety, depression, self-sabotage, all the bits. And it was this somatic work that really allowed my body to catch up with my soul. Because the soul's already whole. We're already whole. There's nothing wrong. We're already here. And when the body catches up, that's when we start to really change our life. Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful souls. I am so grateful, and I feel called to invite anybody who feels to stay on the call. It's reaching 8:30 now. I'd love to walk you through a beautiful, I wouldn't even call it a container. It's not even a course or a program. What I have found in my journey is in the process of embodying our light. It's important to know that we can feel supported and held and safe in that process. And over the past 2 years, I have devoted a lot of my life and creative energy in curating an offering that is a sanctuary for this process. If this is something that ignites something in you, and you know that this is what you're here for, this process and this journey is to support the body, to support the subconscious, to support these aspects of self to come back into unification, and to know that we don't have to do it alone. This life, and as we live this life, it's inevitable. Our awakening's inevitable. Yet sometimes it can be bumpy and alone, and it doesn't need to be that way. So for those of you who feel to stay on the call now, and I'd love to share with you this offering and share my heart with you in this offering, please stay on the line. And if those of you who have received everything you feel that you've needed to receive and you feel completely nourished and abundantly supported, then I thank you for joining Maggie and I on the call. And I feel now to open up a new part of this call and introduce you to living unity consciousness. How does this feel? If there's anybody that's leaving the call, much love, much love, much love. Just checking just checking the waiting for tea. Thank you. Awesome. Beautiful. And those of you who are ready to stay on the call, big thumbs up, big love if you're ready to embark on this next journey, this next chapter. Awesome. 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 Beautiful. I'm still listening, but grabbing food. Awesome, Kara. You do that. Beautiful, darling. Okay. This is living in unity consciousness. This is something that I feel I needed maybe 10 years ago when I was in the world but didn't feel of it. I knew that I was really connected to something deep within myself, yet trying to be in the world was a little bit tricky. And in this process, it's really allowing ourselves to be held and to really learn how to anchor and never leave that space inside. Does that resonate? Who here has had an awakening or a deep remembering of who you really are? I'm really curious to know because you're not alone. You just know. And then when you operate in the world and you go back out into the world and you're talking to your family, you're talking to your friends, you're like, oh, okay, I don't know how to do it anymore. Or like you've had this idea, this driven career or this picture in your head and it all comes crumbling down and you just face something and you just have no idea who you are anymore. In that process, it can be frightening and beautiful, but also like, what are we doing? How do I be here? And what's happening is a unification that's taking place. These fragments of self are starting to strip away, and what's left is a beautiful essence. And when we start to co-create and move with this motion, move with this intelligence, this is where we can really anchor and allow ease and grace to be a part of the embodiment journey. And that's what living consciousness is all about. It's all about the embodiment. And this journey, I feel like I'm talking at you. Big love hearts. I want to make sure we're all here and connected. Yeah. How's this feeling? Yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. The way that I've designed this is over 12 months. And each 4 months is a term. And these terms, these pillars are really focusing and drawing attention on different themes. And the theme that I'd like to bring forth and focus on first is embodying unity from within. It has to start from within and calling back our true essence. Yeah? Because when we're in the world and we're doing the things and we lose ourselves in the world and we disconnect from our essence, the most beautiful and easeful way to return back to that is rising in love with our small self-consciousness. And what I mean by small self-consciousness, it's the consciousness, the part of ourselves that we think is us, yet isn't really. It's the one that we identify to more than we do this limitless abundant self. And what I have found in a perception of mine, a belief of mine, take it or leave it, doesn't resonate with you, drop it off. When it comes to the small self-consciousness, what I have found is we all have one. People call it the ego. Yet what I found is we haven't really learned how to use it, how to work with its energy, how to work with these parts, how to work with the wounds, how to work with this, the one that feels trauma. We haven't learned how to work with it. And instead, we kind of get lost into it. Who knows that feeling? We get lost in the trauma stories. We start to turn into somebody who has something wrong with them, or we have a problem, or we get lost in the mind. The mind starts to cripple on us. These are all aspects of the small self-consciousness. And there you are, the entire time, resting behind the whole shebang, watching it all go on. Yet our focus and our attention as being so condensed and so focused on this one energy form that we completely lose ourselves. And the way out of that is unconditionally loving every single aspect of the small self-consciousness. It is a hack. When we can unconditionally love these aspects of this energy sincerely, it's not another tactic. It's not another mind over matter thing. This is genuinely you. You are the essence of love. Everything is. Everything's made of this. And when I say love, I mean this limitless, abundant essence. Now, when we choose to reside as that while all these aspects are going on, they lose their grip. They don't have hold anymore. And we allow all of us to be here. We allow the whole human thing to be here, yet it doesn't consume us like it used to. And that's where freedom starts to manifest from within. And what we've talked about, that is the real core of abundance. When we start to feel free, when we start to feel peace, abundance starts to appear. And remembering how to live in accordance to the nature of creation. I loved what you shared, Maggie, when it was this striving, this conditioning of striving the next best thing rather than resting and being in the being. And this is my personal take it or leave it. I've experienced personally in the wellness industry, there is a lot of doing. There's a lot of doing, there's a lot of action, there's a lot of we got to be something. When this happens, you got to do this. When this happens, you got to do this. You know what? We can just be. And how can we be and allow all that going on and never leave? And the more we do that, the more we soften behind and say, you know what? You're rising up to me. I'm not falling into you. You're gonna come up to me. When we rest there long enough, it's beautiful practice. There's no doing that needs to be done. These energies, these formations, these energies of contraction start to loosen on their own. It's the way of nature. You ask a tree how the leaf transforms from summer to autumn to spring. It doesn't try, it just does it inevitably, as does these energies when we are not controlling them, when we're not trying to interfere with them. There's a natural process that takes place. And this is where we can start to really rest more into that freedom, more into that inner peace. And I call it surrender. And surrender, I don't mean like, okay, I give up. It's not so much giving up, it's giving it up. It's like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to live in the state of surrender. This is here. I'm moving through grief. I'm moving through a breakup. And I tell you what, I'm opening up here. Like even this eclipse season, it's rocked my intimate relationships. I have to relocate in a few days. And in that process, the grief that came up for me recently, the way in which that was able to process through my being and enable me to stay seated where I am, it's the art of surrender. Because I'm not trying to change it. I'm not resisting a thing. I'm not resisting the thought. I'm not resisting the feeling. I surrender to it and it moves out. Moves in, moves out like goosebumps. Moves in, moves out like pins and needles. Does any of you experience pins and needles and you get it? And there's like, oh, I can't feel my feet. Oh. And when you can't feel your feet, it's okay. All of a sudden you can feel your feet again. The same thing happens when we don't touch it too much. We're still there. We come back to ourselves. The pins and needles come and then we're back. Ah, here we are. Whew. Otherwise we get lost in the pins and needles, and then sometimes it's a wild ride. Being a human's a wild ride. We're doing really good. Yeah. And this is where we start to tap into emotional mastery, shifting the relationship to our experience into the feeling body. Because in order to really allow ourselves access to true freedom, true peace, we have to let ourselves feel. In order to heal the body, and Maggie knows this deeply, in order to allow the energy to move, we have to let it feel through. Yet if our relationship to feeling, if our relationship to pain is one of contraction, is one of fear, is one of resistance. It doesn't allow us to access that freedom, that peace. Yet when we shift our relationship to feeling pain, feeling discomfort, and we see it neutrally, we experience all pain neutrally. It's like, oh, this is here. All right, cool. Come at me. Let's go. You have a scream in a pillow. You cry for 4 days. Yet it's not you. It's just a thing moving through you. And there's methods to do this. And I'm grateful for my journey because I've learned through, trauma-informed body work and psychotherapeutic methods, all of this combined, plus ancient wisdom. When we start to really tap into our true essence, there's ancient wisdom, lifetimes of understanding of how things work. Moving that all together, we start to really understand, hey, it's safe to feel. We're limitless. We're eternal in here. And as a result, we can then stay at a still point, even through chaos. Even when, excuse my French, but when shit hits the fan, when life happens, when life happens and it's out of our control, sometimes a gust of wind comes and it's, okay, now we're here. And we can stay in equilibrium. Equilibrium is peace. Equilibrium is when we're staying put right here, not trying, not forcing ourselves to be center. It's natural, it's innate. And understanding the energetic nature of thought form and how to bear witness to it. Because they're ripples, they're wavelets, they're just energy. And it's just a habit. There's you in there, this eternal nature and the thought. And there's a habit in between it. And that we just keep latching onto the habit and getting pulled into the thought. We can actually allow the thought to just be the thought. And allow it to move through. I'd love to know if this is resonating. How are we, beautiful souls? How are we doing? How are we feeling? Does this resonate? Big love hearts. Yeah. You're welcome to share in the chat too. Big love to you. Yeah, absolutely awesome. I love that this is resonating. Now that's a lot of the foundations of that first pillar, right? And the way in which I personally choose to move through this, it's one-on-one. I love group stuff. I love this. There's so much power in working as a group. And I feel after this call, I'd love to do more of this if we're open and bringing more people together, more of this energy together. Yeah, community is important. But when it comes to this work, one-on-one is potent. And I've experienced 60-minute sessions and they just didn't do the thing. I just didn't get the juice. We kind of talk, we scratch the surface, scratch a bit of the nose. You start to talk about something and then it's like, okay, bye-bye. I'm not into that personally. The way in which I work is quite deep. I'm sure you've noticed I'm quite a deep creature. And in that process, 90 minutes and utilizing these techniques, these quantum energetics, light technology, all these stuff, they're just words. But when we really start to tap in for 90 minutes in this and work with the parts, work with this energy, it's powerful, it's potent. And connection that's anchored in nature is important. With no agenda, with me not telling you how you should be and what you should be doing, we're allowing a greater force to be at play. And those who have worked with me before understand this. Each session has an intelligence of its own. And something as powerful as this, in my opinion, I need a team. We need each other. So Maggie, beautiful Maggie's on board, and another beautiful sister, Tanya. There's a trinity of us that are working with you. And beautiful Tanya, she's the creator of the Light Body Sanctuary, and she offers quantum kinesiology sessions and really dives in and recodes the cellular structure of the body. Now, this isn't with force. This is actually understanding like water, the body holds memory. And we're living in this physical world, but this physical world is made true first by being in non-physical. So the quantum, when we start to work with it with quantum technology, we're working within the unseen realms. We're working within the energetics before it manifests into physical. And I love Tanya for this. I spent 3 months with her. I'll never share and teach something that I haven't done or moved through myself. And working with Tanya, my whole experience shifted. I was paralyzed. I couldn't share on social media. I was like, no way, I don't want to share my heart and my goal. And then it was one session. And the next day, I created 3 months worth of content. And because I understood in that moment, wow, this was in the body. There was a cellular memory in here that was really blocking me from stepping in. And we can do all the mindset stuff. We can do all this stuff. But when we work with the body, which is number one for me, when we work with the body as well, this is when we start to anchor heaven on earth. We start to anchor our light here because we have to do it in the physical, right? And this is where we also have beautiful Maggie Perkins, who shares online spinal energetics and her wisdom. And it's combined. There's a combination. There's a team working with you. So rather than just the one person, it's group. And these sessions too, I feel to share that it's not just human and human. I work with a team. I work with the ancestors. I work with beings. And if you're open to receiving that, there's so much support available to us when we're open and receptive to it. Support here in the physical plane and non-physical plane too. And there's a little online support system there too, which I love, which is there too. How's this feeling? Who's resonating with this? What are you feeling as I'm sharing this? I'm so curious to know. And beautiful Maggie too, I'd love for you to share your insight as well. Yeah, I'd love to share your insight as well when it comes to this and the importance of the body, even if there's little somatic points here.
Yeah, I loved how you said the body is like water. You know, we can encode so much within our bodies that our minds can't even comprehend.
Yeah.
And that's where the spinal energetics, the kinesiology comes in. And yeah, we can shift to new realities literally just from our nervous system, just from our body.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's quite incredible. You know, even setting the mind work aside, what we can do just through the nervous system and body.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's powerful. And I'd love to come back to the foundations of self-love, which is the reason, the why that we do this. The souls in which this is for are for souls who are ready to anchor their light here, to change the fragrance of the world, not force the world to change, but their emanation of emanating in love is what actually changes the way in which people operate, brings greater connection to things. Me personally, I feel to bring more emphasis to that rather than a self-driven picture. It's for the collective. We're doing this for a greater whole. And we have abilities to align to abundance, attract the life of our dreams, right? Except what if we collectively, as a movement, chose to attract the same thing, which is emanation of love, emanation of peace, and we utilize the gift and the power of our essence to bring that forth more and more into the world. And here,
And I just,
please go, Maggie, go.
yeah, I wanted to share, like, this is how miracles happen. This is how miracles are created. When, you know, the Bible verse, when two or more are gathered, like, that is when things truly shift in our reality.
Yeah.
And fast.
Yes.
Really fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel, and I'm curious to know if this resonates with any of you, and I've felt this for a very long time, even when I was a little girl, that we're moving from a winter into a spring into a summer. And in order for that to happen, we're just a part of that process. And as we do this and anchor into this work, it's not work like struggle work, it's just allowing the emanation of our true essence to come forth. It changes the temperature of the whole world. And here, I'd love to just touch on the pillar 2 and pillar 3. Because there's one thing mastering unity from within, and then when we have to explore and go into, for example, relationships in the world, it can be a little bit of a different story because we're working with different things. We can be like, okay, cool, here I am. I'm cool, I'm hip, I'm with it, I'm centered, right? And then we start to move into the world and we really, this is when it really matters. This is where we start to awaken compassionate clarity from the core of our essence. We choose and we are tuning into seeing the world through the lens of who we really are, rather than preference, rather than identity in the small self-consciousness. We're choosing to see it through the heart of our true self. And when we see and choose to receive the world rather than perceive the world from our true self, we anchor more and more into that which is our true self. And relationships are the best for it. Relationships, family is the best for it. Community, interacting with the world is the best for it. And in that process, it's important that we learn how to anchor into ourselves and then bring that forth into our relationships. And especially in union can be tricky, hey? Especially when the challenges come up. And this is where I invite a whole new exploration, which I'm devoted about. It's in relationships we do the most work of anchoring loving union from within. Because I find, especially in our world, there's a lot of transactional love, conditional love with others. And it's like, okay, how do I embody a devotion love, a love that's based in truth, and doing that from the inside out for myself first, and then therefore attracting relationships, attracting people in my life that also mirror that. And this is where it can be really beautiful, because we're expanding our emotional quota. We're expanding how we really show up in this world as love that's born from the inside out. And that doesn't mean that we tolerate everything, but we can set boundaries. We can approach different experiences in our life and never close our heart. It's a very new way. It's beautiful. Who's resonating with this? I'm curious. Yeah. Any nods? Yeah, I see you. Beautiful. And briefly touching on pillar 3 is navigating the quantum field. We live in this vast universe. It's wild. It's a jungle. We're living in a jungle and there's so much going on. And when we understand the quantum energetics, the quantum field, and how realities are created and formed just based on our emanation, how we're emanating and who we are, when we start to really co-create our realities deliberately from this place, anchored in truth, anchored in love, the whole physical world changes. And it's a beautiful process. And this is where we're really starting to step into, you could say, our soul gifts and taking action. There's a deep program that I've spent many years deconstructing and releasing and relieving myself from, where we're taking action and it's forced and it's deliberate and it's hard work, where it's possible to actually take action that's easeful and we're constantly in a state of surrender. There's no constriction, there's no control. And things just happen. Life force happens. Universal intelligence works through us. And that's where we really make impact. That's when miracles really start to happen through our life's work. And that's where also in this pillar, in term 4, there's a mentorship more so here and guidance, where we're combining our soul's gifts, bringing it into the world, and ensuring that when we share our soul's gift, It's anchored in purity before profit. There's nothing wrong with abundance and generating abundance. Yet, if we're still operating and sharing our soul's gift from these old constructs that are still anchored in separation, in hierarchy, we're still contributing to that which is of separation. We're here working together. We're one unified consciousness. Every single person, whether or not they know it or not, it's irrelevant. And when we're anchored and we anchor our work and our gifts and what we're doing from a place of purity, it grows and it's felt. It's real. It's the real stuff. Yeah. How is this feeling? How are you feeling as you're receiving this? Is this resonating? Is there questions? I'm really curious to hear you guys. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I feel connected to the group too, darling. Definitely resonant. Awesome. Beautiful. And this is really just a walkthrough of living unity consciousness. And it's been such a gift to share this with you. Such a gift to share this with you. Yeah. Yeah. How are we feeling? How does this resonate with you guys? I'm really curious to know what resonated with you the most, if there was anything. Deeply resonant, such a stunning container. Yeah. Thank you, darling. Resonating deeply. Awesome. Understanding. Yeah, beautiful. Awesome. And this is something that we can do now, whether it be within this container, whether it be in our everyday life, just allowing ourselves to anchor more and more with this. Yeah. Maggie, I'd love to pass it on to you, my darling, if there's anything you feel to add as we close this container together.
Yeah, I just wanted to say again, thank you for hosting this call today and also allowing self of love to flow through you. I think there's so many, every one of us has a soul mission. We're
Yeah.
here, if we're alive, if we're breathing. There's a purpose and a reason that we're on this earth. And so many of us will hear our calling, see the vision of what we can do, and not fully allow it to come to fruition. And I just want to say thank you for allowing self of love for to actually flow and to come to fruition, and for you to share this with the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm so grateful to be a part of it, and so excited to support you and the beautiful people who decide to join as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And self of love is this is living unity consciousness. This is a container for sure. And self of love is it's a community, it's a movement outside of this. Yet I'm curious to know, and my heart is fully open. If there's a part of you that really deeply resonates with this and is called to that deeper embodiment, it's a deeper work. It's not for everybody. That you're welcome to connect with me in person, and we can join and actually really get to know each other in person. That's number one for me. Is really, really dropping in. Yeah. Yeah. And there's something really powerful about bringing our soul's gift into the world. Yeah, I feel to share that I've been working with Tali for over a year, and her support has served my awakening in all the ways I needed the most. Yeah, beautiful soul, I hear you. It's been a blessing, and it continues to be a blessing working with you, my darling. Thank you all so much. I feel that it serves deeply to conclude the container here. How does that feel for you all? Yeah. And for those of you who are really interested, that you're open, there's a pull to know more about this, just to know more if you're really curious. I'll send through a link which allows us to actually connect on a call. And there's a little bit of a little application form, just so I know there's a little bit more insight into you and what you feel is important to you. I'll send that through. in an email following this, and you'll also receive a recording of this call, a replay, so you can refer back to this at any time. And any beautiful soul here too, if you feel to really join in and share this. When I say share this, I mean the next community call, I feel to bring more of this here on the planet, where we come together, we anchor this love, we practice self of love globally. I feel that that is more important right now. Absolutely. Yeah. Beautiful souls, thank you. Some of you it's evening, some of you it's late, some of you it's morning. My heart is so open to all of you. Thank you all so much. So, 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 so much. Yeah. Thank you, Carla. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Kirsten. Thank you, Veronica. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, some of these comments are beautiful. Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Chantel. Thank you, Alexandra. Beautiful souls. Thank you for joining. And may this continue to ripple in your day, in your night, throughout your week. And I'd love to stay in connection with you all. Yeah. Beautiful Maggie, is there anything you feel to share as we close?
I don't think so. Just thank you, thank you, thank you,
Thank you, thank you,
Talia,
thank you. Pleasure.
and thank you everyone for being here.
Yeah, pleasure.
Mm.
Beautiful souls, I feel to close just with 3 deep breaths, if you feel to, just to really close the container together and sink in with one another. Yeah. Thank you for holding and anchoring this light. Deep breath in. And release out. And again, deep breath in. And release. And one more deep breath in. And release. Much love to you, beautiful souls. I'll see some of you very soon. Take care. Much love. Much love. Yeah.